Recalling Eckert sharing possible risks with me, his face appeared gaunt and fearful in my memory. "Be wary of the pressure. It changes everything," he once said. My fingers traced the rim of my coffee cup, warmth seeping into my fingers as I remembered. I could almost hear the slight tremble in Eckert's voice, a hint of uncharacteristic vulnerability. Did he ever think this knowledge could save us or doom us all? I wondered, a shiver passing through me. Did he know where it might end all along, and still he went ahead? I considered the irony. Was his need to unveil the truth worth this descent into uncertainty? I questioned whether his warnings were meant to protect me, or if they were actually the seeds of his own inner turmoil, threatening to unravel everything he once stood for.
The hidden file labeled "For Leah" caught my attention. My fingers trembled slightly as they hovered over the mouse before I clicked it open, a faint breath of apprehension escaping my lips. The screen flickered, casting a pale blue light that accentuated the shadows in the dimly lit room. I played the message, seeing Eckert's worried face. A chill ran down my spine as I noticed the strain in his eyes I had never seen before. "Leah, I might have found something, but there's danger," Eckert warned ominously, his voice crackling slightly through the static. I leaned closer, as if I could will myself into the past to understand the urgency in Eckert's voice. What did he uncover that scared him so? Was it worth the risk he was asking me to take? The weight of his unspoken fears pressed down on me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the answers I sought could change everything we thought we knew. I organized the data chronologically, logging the transformations. My fingers flew over the keyboard, a repetitive rhythm that mirrored my racing thoughts. Pausing to stretch my neck, I felt the tension crackle like static electricity. Footage of initial subjects showed calm, but over time it turned to chaos. I leaned closer to the screen, eyes narrowing at details only I seemed to notice. The subject was seen in a state of panic, making incoherent clicks. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something hiding in plain sight. Why did their eyes look like that? So empty, yet so aware. I wrestled with a growing sense of dread, wondering what could cause such a rapid psychological decline. Could it be something environmental, or was it a flaw in their procedure? Each possibility raised more questions, and the potential answers loomed ominously in my mind, escalating my fear that maybe even I wasn't safe from the same fate. Glancing at the darkened room around me, I felt a shadow shift at the corner of my eye. My breath caught in my throat, and my pulse quickened. Turning quickly, I saw only my reflection. It was just me, yet there was a flicker, a hesitation in my eyes, as if questioning my own reality. "There you go again, Leah, scaring yourself." But it felt so real. Is my mind finally cracking under the pressure? Or is there something more? I've faced threats before, but nothing has made my skin crawl quite like this unshakable feeling. Entering the control room, my footsteps echoed in the empty space as I scanned each console, my eyes narrowing with determined curiosity. My fingers danced across the terminal, a practiced yet anxious rhythm, activating a sequence that revealed a tangle of encrypted logs. I paused, hearing a faint yet familiar shuffling sound from somewhere deep within the station, my pulse quickening. A distorted recording from a transformed subject crackled to life, sending a chill down my spine as the voice warped through layers of agony and confusion. Even encrypted, these logs hide horrors I need to uncover. But what if I'm not ready to face the truths lurking in this digital darkness? With every keystroke, I'm peeling back layers that might reveal the end of my innocence. The shadows seem to deepen around me, as if aware of the secrets I'm about to unearth. What human minds could have conceived this horror? And will understanding it strip me of my own humanity?
Recalling Eckert sharing possible risks with me, his face appeared gaunt and fearful in my memory. "Be wary of the pressure. It changes everything," he once said. My fingers traced the rim of my coffee cup, warmth seeping into my fingers as I remembered. I could almost hear the slight tremble in Eckert's voice, a hint of uncharacteristic vulnerability. Did he ever think this knowledge could save us or doom us all? I wondered, a shiver passing through me. Did he know where it might end all along, and still he went ahead? I considered the irony. Was his need to unveil the truth worth this descent into uncertainty? I questioned whether his warnings were meant to protect me, or if they were actually the seeds of his own inner turmoil, threatening to unravel everything he once stood for.
Recalling Eckhart sharing possible risks with me, his face appeared gaunt and fearful in my memory. "Be wary of the pressure. It changes everything," he once said. My fingers traced the rim of my coffee cup, warmth seeping into my fingers as I remembered. I could almost hear the slight tremble in Eckhart's voice, a hint of uncharacteristic vulnerability. Did he ever think this knowledge could save us or doom us all, I wondered, a shiver passing through me. Did he know where it might end all along, and still he went ahead? I considered the irony. Was his need to unveil the truth worth this descent into uncertainty? I questioned whether his warnings were meant to protect me, or if they were actually the seeds of his own inner turmoil threatening to unravel everything he once stood for. Spotted shifting shadows at the end of the hallway, my eyes narrowed as they seemed to dance in harmony with the flickering lights. My pulse spiked as human forms formed and dissolved, a chill cascading down my spine with each oscillation. I paused, straining to distinguish the shadows from reality while my breath caught in my throat. I approached cautiously, each step a test of my resolve against the yearning urge to flee, wary of a trap. With every creak of the floor beneath my feet, an involuntary flinch tightened my grip on the flashlight I held. Are they real? Or just my mind filling in the blanks where fear dwells? This place always messes with my head, twisting reality and testing my sanity. I can't tell if it's the shadows that are shifting, or if it's just my courage slipping away. What if there's something waiting for me at the other end, hidden in the very darkness I can't penetrate? Meeting Alex, his eyes were haunted yet pleading. I noticed how his hands trembled, as if they were not entirely under his control. "You have to stop them before they take you too," he warned, his voice cracking like dry earth. In the dim light, I stepped back, my heart pounding as his desperation mirrored my own fears. His transformation was alarmingly evident in his body, with shifting bones and sinews straining beneath his skin. Can I trust him? His warning felt genuine, but his transformation wasn't. The fear in his eyes was palpable, mirroring my own dread of the unknown. What if it's already too late for me, and his words are nothing but echoes of a doomed past? Every second I linger might be sealing my own fate. Rifling through Eckhart's lab notes, my fingers trembled slightly over the fragile edges. The chaotic scrawl of formulas swirled together in my mind as I fought to make sense of them. I spoke aloud. Could this actually reverse what's happened here? My voice barely above a whisper, filled with a mix of hope and desperation. I paused, biting my lip, contemplating the enormity of what I held. Salvation or another dead end?
Did you hear that?
The notes outlined protective equipment for withstanding pressure, diagrams of suits with reinforced joints, and eerie annotations about radiation leaks. His last act, could it be true? If Sam had the antidote all along and never told me, what else might he have hidden? Can I trust what remains, or is it just his ghost clouding my judgment? I have to know. It's not just a matter of science, but of trust and betrayal. Standing alone in a silent room, the air heavy with tension. "It's too quiet," I muttered to myself, unsettled. My fingers fidgeted restlessly with the hem of my sweater, a futile attempt at distraction. I glanced towards the window, where faint, ominous clouds gathered on the horizon. A soft creak from the wooden floorboard beneath my feet startlingly broke the silence. The calm before everything unravels. I must be ready, but how can one truly prepare for the unknown? My heart thrummed in my chest, a relentless reminder of my fears. What if I misjudged the storm's intent? Or worse, its path?
What is this
Moving
language?
past a row of darkened tanks, something suddenly banged against the glass. My heart leapt as a face momentarily appeared pressed against the glass. With a gasp, the moment passed and it was gone. My footsteps echoed on the concrete floor, hesitant and uneven as I instinctively stepped back. Briefly losing balance, my hand shot out to catch myself against the cold steel frame of the closest tank. Trembling, I whispered to myself, "I'm not seeing things. It's just the dark playing tricks. A trick of light or a sign? I can't let fear paralyze me now." But what if it's neither? What if something is waiting, watching just beyond the veil of darkness, taunting me with these glimpses to see if I'll break? I need to keep my head clear and my senses sharper than ever. I carefully mixed the formula in the lab under dim light, my fingers trembling slightly as I measured each ingredient with precision. "This has to work," I murmured with determination, a hint of desperation in my voice, as I glanced at the clock ticking ominously on the wall. My gaze flickered to a faded photograph pinned to a corkboard. Memories swirled in my mind, fueling my resolve. I gathered protective gear, methodically checking each item, my mind racing through every potential hazard. I wrote out a detailed plan, my pencil moving swiftly and decisively across the page, pausing occasionally as if caught in contemplation. With each step, I got closer. This is our only shot. If I fail, everything we've fought for could unravel. The weight of responsibility pressed down on me, but I had to trust in my skills. In the countless hours I've poured into this research, I can't let the fear claw its way to the surface now. This is for all of us, for the future we need to build. Taking a deep breath, I stepped into the tunnel system. My hand grazed the cold, slick wall for support, leaving damp streaks as I moved. I paused, listening to my own quickening heartbeat echoing back from the unseen corners. Every sound echoed ominously. The lighting grew more erratic. "No turning back now," I whispered determinedly. Closing my eyes for just a moment, I envisioned Eckhart's trusting face, the silent promise I made to him. I can't fail. For Eckhart, for the truth. Every step away from safety deepened the weight of responsibility on my shoulders. What if I find nothing? What if this truth is just another illusion? But I have to try, to push through the fear and doubt because Eckhart believed in this cause and believed in me. Walking cautiously, the path became increasingly unstable. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat echoing the urgency beneath my feet. I stumbled as bits of concrete crumbled beneath me, catching myself just in time against the cold, slick wall. A creature's hiss urged me to quicken my pace. My eyes darted nervously through the darkness, searching for any sign of movement. I brushed dust from my face, my breath coming in shallow gasps, each one tasting of fear. Every step felt like a gamble, the floor's treacherous nature threatening to swallow me whole. They're close. I can feel them pressing in from the shadows. I have to keep moving, no matter how much my legs ache or my mind reels. If I stop now, they'll catch me. But what if there's no way out? Desperation gnawed at the edges of my resolve, urging me forward despite the fear gnawing at my stomach.
Reaching the central hub, my fingertips brushed against the cold steel surface as I steadied myself, my heart pounding like a drum. I glanced nervously over my shoulder at the flickering lights that cast ominous shadows across the floor before quickly accessing the oxygen control. "Come on, work!" I hissed, my voice barely audible over the hum of machinery, injecting the formula into the system. My pulse quickened as I watched the apparatus hiss, exhaling tendrils of vapor. Now or never. For a fleeting moment, I imagined what failure would look like, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing heavily on my chest. Let this be enough to turn the tide, to fight back. I thought of all the lives depending on this one action, the countless faces I may never see again if I fail.
No.
I wrestled with a gnawing doubt, questioning if I'd overlooked something crucial, if there's a flaw in my plan that could unravel everything. Hearing the hissing clicks as hunters approached, their grotesque forms barely glimpsed in the periphery, I ran desperately, feet pounding rhythmically on the grating beneath me, glancing back at shifting shadows that seemed to breathe menace into the air. My heart raced like a caged bird, every beat echoing in my ears as the nightmarish whispers of the hunters reverberated in the narrow corridor. The corridor catwalk collapsed, sending a shower of sparks as metal ground against metal, forcing a detour. I skidded to a halt,
gasping as I veered sharply into another hallway, the chilling thought of what might happen if I faltered urging me on. Keep running, Leah. You don't have time to look back. If you slow down, if you hesitate for even a moment, they will reach you and there'll be no escape. Remember why you're doing this: survival, hope, and the promise of a safer place ahead. Focus, breathe, and don't lose yourself to the fear that nips at your heels. A shadowed figure emerged. Eckhart regained a moment of lucidity, the fog in his eyes clearing as if he was waking from a long slumber. "For the project," he whispered, his voice barely more than a breath, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 regrets. He stepped towards the main console, pausing for a fleeting second, as if conversing with ghosts from his past. The lever loomed ahead, a handle of cold steel, daunting and unforgiving. With a grim determination tightening his jaw, he slammed the lever down, and bright light flooded the corridor, banishing the shadows into oblivion. Sam, even in those final moments, you found the strength to choose us over them. Did you know this would be your end, your only escape from the burdens you carried? In saving us, did you finally make peace with yourself, or was this another chain in your relentless pursuit of redemption? I stumbled my way through debris to the escape pod area, tucking stray wisps of hair behind my ear with trembling fingers. I gripped the pod's release handle, breathing heavily, feeling the cold metal bite into my palm. A flicker of doubt crossed my mind as I whispered, "Please, let this hold," as the pod systems ignited with a low hum. My eyes darted towards a flickering overhead light as I heard a distant explosion, urging my heart to pound faster. Each breath felt heavy, but I forced myself to focus on the handle, reminding myself of the desperate hope that lies beyond these walls. Just a little longer, and I'll be free of the abyss. But what if the pod fails? I've come too far to be stranded. Every step has led to this moment, a fragile thread of hope, and all I need is for it not to snap in these final crucial seconds. Securing myself, I started the ascent, pressure releasing. My fingers trembled as they double-checked each strap, pulling them taut against my body. Through the window, I saw the murky deep fade into blue, my heart pounding in sync with the bubbles rushing past. A soft, rhythmic hum from the speakers made me uneasy. I tried to find a melody in it, but the irregular pattern only amplified my dread. I rested a palm on the cool metal of the console, seeking stability, while my other hand brushed a loose strand of hair from my sweaty forehead. Keep rising, keep climbing, we're almost there. Each meter felt like a century, the weight of the deep still pressing on my chest. What if something goes wrong again? No, focus, Leah, focus. Imagine the sunlight on your face, the end of the abyss and the beginning of freedom. Listening intently to the haunting clicks over the radio, my breath was shallow and my heart pounded against my ribs. My fingers trembled slightly as they hovered above the dial, a hesitation seeping into my resolve. The log repeated, "We are still here, and we are hungry." The words echoed through the dimly lit room, seeping into every shadowed corner. I wiped my clammy palms on my jeans, trying to rid myself of the growing sense of helplessness. Faces appeared on the last video frame, their gaze piercing, my eyes locked with theirs, an unspoken challenge vibrating in the silent air. They won't stop. Even now, they'll always reach for more. Is this what it all leads to? An eternal chase with no escape? My stomach knotted with dread. I imagined their insatiable hunger lingering like a specter over every fleeting moment of peace, always poised to reclaim what little I had earned. How much more will they consume before satisfaction settles in their empty gaze? The console crackled to life with a sound that made my skin prickle. Frantic breathing permeated the audio, each gasp echoing through the otherwise silent station. My fingers tensed involuntarily, gripping the console's edge with a force that turned my knuckles white. Alarms blared in the background, a cacophony that sent shivers down my spine as my eyes darted to the shadows creeping along the walls. "They're coming for us," the distorted voice stated,
a chilling finality in the words. Silence followed, stretching thick and suffocating, as if the station itself was holding its breath. Questions tumbled through my mind like a jagged knot of anxiety. What happened to them down there? Where are they now? Did they face their fate with courage, or were they overwhelmed by terror as I'm feeling now? And can I really trust this place, this machinery, to stay silent and still? Or is it just waiting to betray me at the most dire moment? I sat at my cluttered desk, surrounded by piles of files and video logs. Papers were stacked haphazardly, some nearly toppling over the side. Adjusting my glasses, I squinted through the smudged lenses, focusing on a screen filled with chaotic footage. My fingers hovered above the keyboard, hesitant yet determined. A flicker of doubt crossed my face before it was replaced by resolve. I whispered to myself, "This all started with a simple experiment." My voice trailed off into a sigh, half resignation, half curiosity. I bit the inside of my cheek, thinking about the consequences of that experiment gone awry. I needed to piece this together. They deserved to be understood. Each fragment of data held a story, a truth buried beneath layers of mistakes and oversights. What did we miss the first time? Maybe I could find some redemption here, if only for them, if only for my own conscience. But what if the pieces never fit as neatly as I hoped? As I reviewed the initial footage, I watched the crew prepare for the experiment, their hopeful smiles contrasting sharply with the unease I felt. Dr. Eckert paced in front of the screens, gesturing emphatically as he explained procedures, his confidence evident in the set of his shoulders. "We'll see the depths differently," he stated enthusiastically, his eyes gleaming with the reflected light of the monitors. My gaze lingered on the screen displaying the vast, deep blue of the ocean. I couldn't shake the feeling that something pivotal started here, wondering if optimism alone could steer them away from hidden dangers. I questioned what might have derailed the promising start they had. The buoyant hopes of today could easily be marred by unseen risks lying in wait. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the room into darkness. The sense of orientation stripped away, and something crashed in the distance with a startling clang. My heart skipped a beat, my breath quickened, and my pen fell from the hand, clattering to the floor. Instinctively, I reached out, fingertips brushing against the coarse wood of the desk, grounding myself in the tangible. "Oh God, what was that?" I whispered to myself, my voice barely a hushed tremor in the engulfing silence. Was it just a blackout, or something more sinister? I needed to stay calm and rational, but my mind was racing, conjuring up images of shadows lurking in every corner. Am I really alone? Or is there something waiting in the darkness, watching? What was that noise, and why does it feel like the world has stopped breathing around me?